particular district was mainly studied by the forestry group, and Mtwara was studied by coastal resources. That's why we have the marine park. And without extending why we chose this area, is the socioeconomic significance, but also similarities. And the fact that all the resources we wanted to study have attracted a lot of attention of partners. So we needed to capture the complexity of these partnerships and their outcomes, but also to make sure that we do not really have, we don't mix the comparative aspects with different socioeconomic issues. If we went to the north, then we would have a pastoral community bringing other issues. At the end of these slides. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. And I have never been to a hybrid conference that works perfectly, and this one gets very, very close to be working really well. So I'm quite happy that the whole technology is up, and people will be streaming in as they come. It's a bit early now in the US and Europe, so people will be coming a bit later. But thank you for the technical team for making it work. I just want to spend a few minutes trying to show you the kind of things that we did, because I mean we did a lot of work in the past 5 years. We did 4 main trips for field work, February, March 17, August, September 17, and then similarly the next year. And a large group of us have been involved in this. We did collect the secondary document statistics, databases, a lot of key informant interviews, focus groups in all these locations, participant observation, this mostly from the PhD student, a fairly large survey, and I'll show you in a moment the numbers, and then a lot of really sophisticated remote sensing work. And you will get an idea of how sophisticated that is tomorrow, to the point that when they were doing the data analysis, there's a team of people in the US, Denmark, and Tanzania. We were hosting this analysis in Denmark. In the central, we had to use the Central Statistics Denmark power, data power, and they asked us, please, to do it in the weekend, because during the day we were crashing a national system. So just to give you an idea of how intensive this was, but you'll get to know all these details as we go along today and tomorrow. I did something here. Okay. So research activities, I just put up this table that is going to be in the book, just to give you a sense of the local level activity. We did a lot of national level activity as well, but essentially these are the sites. We had 1,019 survey respondents. We had 331 key informant interviews and 81 focus groups. So we really did ask people what they thought about these various kinds of sustainability. And we stuck to, a lot of our analysis is actually based on perceptions. So part of that, again, you will see between today and tomorrow. And part of it is sort of from remote sensing, and also trying to make sense about whether perceptions and what we could see from the remote sensing were aligned or not. So in terms of data analysis, qualitative data, we did classic interpretive analysis, but also a lot of us work with NVivo, which is a software-based interpretive qualitative analysis software. As a matter of fact, some of our team members are now so good at this that they are training other people at the University of Dar es Salaam on how to use it, particularly Dr. Kweka, but also others. So this has also been part of our own capacity building. And when I say that, it's not capacity building in Tanzania, it's capacity building in Tanzania and elsewhere. I didn't know anything about this, and now I'm actually not as good as my Tanzanian colleagues, but at least I know what they're doing. So this is a reciprocal learning as well. Then quantitative data, a lot of SPSS, but also R, a lot of work in R, and quite, as I said, advanced modeling, simulation, and regression analysis. And then social network analysis. Again, this is the second area where all of us have learned something. And again, our team in Tanzania has become quite specialist in this, especially our 3 PhD students who have used social network analysis in their work. And you will see some of that again. I think tomorrow is the social network analysis part. So just to give you a flavor that this is not just about the project results, it's also about the process of learning and the capacity building that we all have had as we go along. Myself, I hadn't worked in conservation before, so I had to learn everything from scratch, and I learned from my colleagues both in and outside of Tanzania. Challenges, I mean, among others, I mean, I think this is the best picture we've ever taken. It tells you a lot, right? So, yes, we were silly enough to, well, silly. We could only go in March and April. You all know what it means, right? So it seems like, why do you guys do that? Well, you know, it was the time that our colleagues were not in session teaching, and we just had to go anyway. Rainy season, bad idea, but we managed. So now, a lot of people who are sitting in the room here were part of various meetings with the stakeholder committee, and they really helped us to get the site selection right. We were pretty off mark at the beginning, and they told us so, and thank you for that, because I think that part of the success here is really due to the continuous feedback that we had in various meetings with the stakeholder committee. Complexity, we started with a certain idea of complexity that had to do with institutional complexity, number of actors, the actor configurations, but then as we moved along, we started to differentiate institutional complexity and network complexity, and the two, and how they interact. Again, you see a lot of that work tomorrow. So complexity itself is not a simple thing to look at, but I think we came out with some interesting findings that you will, again, be exposed to. Fieldwork challenges, I've already said that, in addition to, in some cases, to some fairly dangerous situation locally. And the issue of handling huge data sets where we were, you know, essentially told to work in the weekend instead, among other things. Lots of successes. I have never been in a project where I feel that I am part of a family rather than a project. And I don't say this lightly. I'm not that kind of guy that says, oh, we're all friends, you know, let's go at night. And this is really, really special. So we had various occasions for the members to be in Copenhagen, for us to be here until COVID anyway. We were lucky enough, by the time COVID came, we had finished the field work. We had started the data analysis. So it didn't disrupt us as much as it could have. So we were lucky from that perspective. We went to conferences together. This is in Washington, D.C. at the the annual conference of the Association of American Geographers, the American Association of Geographers. Was also during blooming time, which is the most beautiful time to be in Washington. And we have a book